Hey guys, the other day I posted a video on how I catch crawfish out of a creek to use for catfish bait. Shortly after I posted that, one of the commenters made a comment and said, hey, can you show us how to rig that? So I'll do that now. There's a couple of different ways you can rig these. Other fishermen will tell you other ways to do it. I'm just going to show you what I do and what I know works for me. So here's our crawfish. He is dead. He was previously frozen in my freezer, but he's been thawed out and put on stage one last time. Okay, I like to use, this crawfish is probably in total length, maybe 3.5 inches, maybe pushing 4 if you stretch him out. But I like to use a 1/0 bait holder. These right here. That's an eel claw. They're not terribly sharp, so I would use some caution on the hook set, maybe put a little oomph into it or sharpen your hooks. But most fishermen will just go through the back. Well, I should say this. You don't want to hook them through the top, because what happens if you use them live, they can curl up their tails, and it could impede your hook set when you get a bite. So what we do, either side of these white lines here, let me focus in there, either side of these white lines here, we're just going to go ahead and poke it through, and make sure your fingers are out of the way, folks, because the shell creates some resistance, and when you finally poke through, I don't want you to get a hook in your finger. So this is the basic way that you would hook a crawfish. You can hook him like this to use him dead like this, or you can hook him like this to use him alive. Hooking him through the tail isn't going to hurt how lively he is. It's going to affect how he swims and maybe walks around in the water, but he'll still be pretty lively. You can fish him on the bottom like this, or you can use him underneath a float, a bobber. If you do use him on the bottom, using like a slip sinker rig or something, one thing you have to watch out for is he is alive, so he could potentially crawl underneath a rock or a log. He can get you hung up, or if he crawls underneath a rock or a log, he won't be seen, and if he's not seen, then he can't be eaten. So if you're going to fish him alive on the bottom, I would periodically, like every 5 minutes or so, just lift up your rod and kind of move him up in the water and let him come back down. That's going to create some more attention in the water, and it's also going to prevent him from staying underneath any rocks or logs for an extended period of time, so you're just not out there fishing with your bait hidden. Some fishermen, when they use them alive, like to tear off one claw. They think it makes the crawfish look more vulnerable to predators, and some people just like to tear off both the claws, because sometimes the crawfish will grab onto your line and start crawling up your line, and that's not good for presentation. So I mean, if you want to pull off a claw, they come off pretty easily. Just separate it there and you get rid of it, and you can pull off the other one and you can get rid of it. If you're going to fish him underneath a bobber, though, I would leave both claws on, because all that movement that he's doing is going to draw a lot of attention. A lot of times when you're fishing with crawfish, you're going to catch more than just catfish too. I mean, you'll catch crappie, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass. Just about everything in fresh water that I'm aware of will eat a crawfish. I mean, they even sell those little Rebel crawfish lures for panfish. So everything will eat these. Which is good. It leads to exciting fishing. Now the other way you can fish this, you can separate the head from the tail like that, and that exposes a lot of scent with the tail meat. One thing I will say, and you can fish this on the ground, or you can fish this on the bottom or with a bobber also. One thing I will say is when you separate the tail meat like that, it lets out a lot of scent. The only downside that I found is that bluegill will come and nibble away all your tail meat. So for that reason, I like to hook them a little bit differently if I'm using them with the tail off. Oop. I like to take the hook and go right through where I just separated it and kind of thread it on there just like that. Well, that's actually not the best job I could have done, but there you go. That's a little bit better of a presentation right there. So if the fish gets its mouth on it, you know, if it goes halfway in, you're going to get a hook set. Ew, gross. One more way to fish it whole and alive, you can also hook it. If you can take your hook and just go just under, not deep, but just under the back of the shell, you can see where it's got a little separation. You stick your hook right in there and pop it up, and you can fish him like that. And as long as you don't go too deep and hook any organs, he's going to stay lively like that also. Yet another way that I've seen other people fish them, if you're going to use him whole but dead, I still recommend taking a piece of his shell and cracking some of that meat open to get some of that scent out in the water. If you can add extra scent to anything, it really helps when you're fishing. One last thing about fishing with crawfish, so like if you're in a creek or a stream or something with some current, you can just hook these through the tail and maybe put a split, if he's a heavier crawfish, you can use him as the casting weight. But if he's kind of smaller like this, you can put the line, you know, hook him through the tail like I just showed you, and up the line about a foot, put a couple of split shot. You can throw him out in the creek and let him drift with the current. That's a great way to locate fish. Just ever so often pick him up and just let that current carry him down, and you catch some good creek fish, most probably some smallmouth, but it's an excellent way to do it. Well guys, that's about all I got for how to rig a crawfish. If you have any questions or comments, just drop them down below. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, guys.